Okay. And if you could go back in time, you could either vote for Donald Trump or Kamala Harris. Who would you rather vote for?
I will personally say Donald Trump.
Okay. And why do you support Donald Trump?
Um, Before I dive into my debate, I would like to say something nice about you, just to kind of kick things off with a friendly note. Um, you're a really great debater. I love the way you've been debating people. You've been open, truthful, and you haven't said anything offensive or out of line. I appreciate that, man. That's great.
Thank you. Okay. So why do you support Donald Trump?
Well, I support Donald Trump just because I didn't really know enough about Kamala Harris when she ran. And the things I did hear about her when I voted for him, because I did vote for him, I wasn't really too big of a fan of the things I heard about her. So I went towards Trump. And I agreed with more of the stuff that Trump wanted
And do you
than what
regret that
Kamala
vote?
Harris was vying for.
And do you regret that vote? Like, if you
Huh?
could go back with the information that you have right now, would you still vote for Trump?
Personally, yes, because again, like I said, I don't know enough about Kamala Harris.
Okay. So, what did you hear about Kamala Harris that you thought was bad, and what would limit you from wanting to support her over Donald Trump?
I heard a lot of evil things about Kamala Harris, like some of the stuff she did out in California as a
Hey, don't say the name of any. Don't
attorney.
say, don't say any, in the name of any D-Rugs on live.
No, I'm not. I'm not. I
Yeah,
won't.
we're
I
just letting you know
promise.
because it's a TikTok TOS thing, and it would make me like have to restrict the
No, no,
stream.
no, no,
But
no, 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 no
yeah.
sweat.
So
I
I
wouldn't
just
do
want to
that
let
to
you
you,
know.
dude.
Yeah, I just want to let you know for the situations you're referencing, it would be 45 people that were convicted specifically, and this was of violating probation. So of prior offenses that they have already violated. So it was because of other offenses. It wasn't because of just possession. She actually advocates for federal legalization
Actually,
of
that's
like
pretty
the
cool.
elevation substance that is amazing.
But like I said, that was one of the biggest things that I had against her was that hearing about that kind of stuff. I was like, I don't support that at all.
Hey, you keep saying you heard. Did you actually verify anything, or did you just hear it?
I got it from like a few different sources. I don't know if they were
When you
confirmed
say sources, you
necessarily.
mean people, or do you mean actual sources?
I mean actual sources.
Hmm.
Okay.
Can you share
So
any of
Like
those?
I'd scroll through the internet. I do the research myself before I like jump to conclusions. I like to do my research before I say something. That's just how I am. I won't ever just make assumptions about people based on what other people are saying. That's not how I roll.
Okay, and can you name one that you found that was credible?
It's been so long since I've actually done the research. I can't remember.
Hmm. Okay.
I'm sorry.
that's okay. So
I'm a
the
little rusty on debate.
that's fine. So like I guess like is there anything Trump could do that would get you to stop supporting him?
I mean, yeah, there's plenty that he could do, but
Like
currently
for
standing,
for example, if he
unless
called for
he's
the
convicted of a
election,
crime or
he
something,
is he has been convicted of a crime.
Absolutely has been.
he's been indicted for one, but he was never actually convicted. They
He
never
was
actually
actually
got the
convicted.
Never been
conviction.
convicted.
Look up Trump convicted of 34 felonies. He was totally convicted.
Yep.
But currently standing with some of the policies he's been putting into place, he hasn't put any legislation in place. You're right about that. He hasn't done any real legislation, but he has put forth policies that have, in my opinion, benefited America.
Such
If he
as
has,
I'm going to get a lot of controversy on this and a lot of hate. I support the deportation. Get the illegals out of here.
undocumented.
The undocumented, yes, get them gone. They don't need to be here.
well,
Why?
here's my position. Every undocumented immigrant who's in the country who hasn't committed a violent crime or bad crime should be given a pathway to citizenship where they don't have to leave the country. and I believe that we should make a quicker legal pathway to citizenship. What benefit to society do we have from engaging in mass deportation?
Sorry. I had to clear my throat there for a second. Anywho,
What
as far as
benefit
the
from
mass
mass deportation
deportation
would you say
goes,
there is?
I feel like, yeah, there should be some way for them to get back into the country through the legal channels. But it also matters on whether or not they're willing to assimilate to American culture, because if they don't assimilate to American culture, that can actually be detrimental to American society. It creates a neighborhood of strangers, not a neighborhood of neighbors.
I don't
Does
even
that
think
make
that's the
sense?
case.
Mm-hmm.
If anything, there's a lot of American cities where there's strangers and not neighbors in that context. If you're going to say that and already, everyone was already born in the United States, so there's nothing about you specifically being born in the particular country that we're referencing that would make you more likely to like be like not strangers to the people that are around you. If anything, like I
No,
would
I
say
don't. I
that
don't
like
disagree. But
hold up. So if anything,
why would we bring
so what?
people?
So let me clarify. So can you tell us what is American culture? Because
Yes.
I think that you're gonna have a hard time defining that without referencing anything brought by immigration. Push the
Yep.
galaxy.
Well, for starters, not wishing upon Americans. I've seen a
Okay.
lot of
Culture.
that on the internet.
So you mean like Donald Trump, who called for the of some Democrats?
He was wrong in doing that because the crime for sedition isn't. It is imprisonment. It falls under treason, in which case, in order to commit an act
Wait,
of
he
treason,
said
you
it
have to
was
act
treasonous.
in.
He even said recently that the New York Times, for saying that he has had cognitive decline, right, is engaging in seditious, perhaps even treasonous behavior. He did that yesterday, like 15 hours, or actually it was like 19 hours ago, something like that.
Okay, do you know why he said that?
Because they said that he was quote unquote slowing up and like he has cognitive decline, which I agree with,
No,
by the way.
why he said the seditious behavior part.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. I read it off the Truth Social post last night.
Sorry, I'm nervous as all get out. I don't do these kinds of things often.
Okay, it's okay. No, it's just like you said that like not wishing on Americans is something that would be like not a part of American culture, but yet you support a president that did do that, and you said
Like I
that
said, I don't
immigrants coming.
support
So again,
everything
can you tell me
he's
what is
done or
American
said.
culture? What is American culture? And don't name anything that has anything to do with immigration.
And I did not. I said, for starters, not wishing upon Americans.
Again, that has
Second thing, upholding the laws of our Constitution. And
No, none of those things are actually culture. Like you're just saying stuff that's not culture.
Wait, and these are things that Trump
Okay,
undermines.
hold
Like
on.
Trump literally called for the termination of all rules, regulations, and articles, even those found in the Constitution, and violating people's due process rights violates constitutionally protected rights. Okay, come on, give us something that's American culture that doesn't involve immigrants. I'm not. We're not going to cut you off this time. We're going to let you name as much as you want. Sorry.
like I said, I'm super nervous. I don't do this very often.
That's okay.
God. What would I
I'll
can't even
give you a
describe
clue.
American
I'll
culture.
give you a clue. The only thing that is actual genuine American culture is derived from black people. How about that?
Native Americans.
What about indigenous people?
Yeah, that's also American culture.
They were the first Americans, so they have a
Yeah,
culture.
exactly. That's American culture. Yeah, so, but
and
like we're
they-
asking you what specifically about culture, because what you've mentioned, right, would actually mean that you don't support ICE because they're actively going after indigenous Americans because they're racially
Exactly.
profiling them.
and also this country has erased indigenous culture. So like that's not true. It would be different if this country highlighted and uplifted indigenous culture, but
which
they
it should.
like indigenous erasure is actually a thing. So
It absolutely should uplift indigenous culture.
I don't disagree there, especially considering that I am technically part American, Native American,
you mean
and I would like to see
indigenous?
some parts of my culture brought to
Are
light.
are you connected?
No, I am not. I
Okay,
mean,
then
it's such a
that's
small part of me,
erasure.
but I would
Yeah,
like to.
that's literally that's erasure, bud. You shouldn't sit here. You may have some heritage that's indigenous, but if you aren't connected, then you shouldn't openly claim that you're, indigenous because that's literally erasure. That's a problem within the country that indigenous people face every day. Like that's a really bad thing. So
I'm saying
again,
I
you
would
may
like to
have
reach out to my culture. I'm saying I would like
sure
to have
you may
that
have that
connection.
actual lineage. You may have people within your family tree that are indigenous, but you shouldn't claim that because you're not connected, and that's erasure. So maybe stay away from that one. And please don't say you're Cherokee. It's always Cherokee.
Actually, Blackfoot.
I think the point that Parker was trying to make as far as like American culture is people love to say that undocumented immigrants or immigrants in general need to conform to American culture. But when it comes down to it, America doesn't have a singular culture, or mostly we don't have anything that's unique to us. America's culture is made up of different cultures come into our country, and being able to take pieces and parts and being able to combine and make the best parts of our country. So for anyone to say that, oh, these people need to conform to American culture, there's no such thing as American culture unless you're referring to like obesity, illiteracy, and mass unalivings. Like I mean, if you're talking about those, then maybe, but I don't think those are good things.
No, and I agree there.
Okay.
I see people talking about violence in the chat. Do you know that actually most violence tends to happen through suicides? That's what they register under
Yeah,
violence.
that's
Just for the people
yeah,
who are saying that.
yeah, but that doesn't mean that it doesn't mean that's not something to like address. It's still something to address. We obviously don't want people to
Right.
self-unalive. We obviously want them to, you know,
No, I'm
like
not saying
find
that's not a
community, right?
serious issue, but it's not an issue of control. It's an issue
I mean,
of.
actually, I would say in some circumstances it is.
I also just want to read this to you really quick. W's in chat for Clarence. Thank you so much for the 20 cent. As a real indigenous person, I'm not going to try to say those because I know I'll mess it up. It says his actions do not reflect indigenous values. He is not. White people always want to say this and then they hurt native people right after. Exactly. I mean, so again, like when you sit here and say like you're quote unquote Native American, like that's super
I said I'm
harmful.
part.
So
I never said I
yeah,
was
well,
full or
part
any of
yeah,
that.
just but FYI, like that really harms indigenous people, and I just want to make sure that I
And that's
amplified
not my
Clarence's voice
intentions at
just now.
all.
I mean, I
Like
know.
that
I
was not
just
my
wanted to make sure that
intentions.
I amplified Clarence's voice because not only thank you for the 20, but like indigenous people need to be heard. So anyway, I apologize. You can keep moving forward.
But I mean, if we're gonna get into the indigenous part,
No,
when
no,
I
no. Keep
say,
moving forward.
oh
I just
yeah,
wanted to amplify Clarence's voice because, again, indigenous people need to be heard. But you can move forward. I wasn't trying to derail. I just wanted to make sure that was read.
no, you're good.
So, what makes Donald Trump someone that you actively still support today, while he is, sending our country down the toilet in the way that he's going after undocumented immigrants, the way that he's violating human rights, constitutional rights? You said that you like the premise of mass deportation, but the premise of mass amnesty would actually be not only more cost efficient, but it would be more beneficial to the country versus trying to get them all out of the country. So, what do you have against like mass amnesty?
I never said I had anything against mass amnesty. I'm just saying we need to figure something out as far as the illegals go because it's an issue and it
Undocumented.
needs to be addressed, especially when we're bringing in certain people that are criminals and will do illegal stuff like
So, okay,
and
all of that's
all
less
these
likely to
other
happen.
horrible things. Even
Undocumented immigrants are multiple times as likely to commit violent crime crime, property crime in the country compared to natural born U.S. citizens. This idea that they're bringing crime to the country is actually just completely misleading and not the case. Actually, if you look at the proportionalities, and we're talking about
I'm
per
saying
capita.
that people should be vetted more before they come into the country.
Okay, so if you want to talk about vetting, right, the process I'm advocating for actually ensures that the most amount of people are vetted as possible. Okay, because it ensures that people have an incentive to identify themselves to authorities.
Right, and I'm saying get them out of here first so that we can properly vet them to let them back in. I'm not saying kick them out permanently, just get them out so we can vet them and bring them in and then, you know, go through
Yeah,
things the
yeah.
right way,
So again,
the way it
you
should have
can do
been done to
vetting while
begin
they
with.
stay in the country, and if they have not committed a violent crime or bad crime, and that's the conditions in which they would actually be able to go through the vetting process, then you understand that people who would be incentivized to go through said vetting process would meet that criteria, and there's no reason to kick them out of the country while they're going through the legal process because they're not a threat to you. Only 5% of people detained by ICE actually have a prior criminal conviction that is violent. Did you know that? Only 5% of people. And 73% of people who are detained by ICE have no prior criminal convictions at all.
I won't disagree that immigrants are less likely to commit crimes, but I am saying there should be better vetting as far as that goes to help reduce crime rates wherever we can. Because let's face it, America is at an all-time high for crime rates.
Crime is homegrown.
Yeah,
Like you take a look at the actual amount of crime within the United States, and that's why I mentioned like mass
And I
unalivings
know
being something that's unique to the United States. Most countries, when they have any type of mass unaliving events, they actually address it with legislation. You can take a look at places like Australia. You can take a look at how they handle within Europe and things like that. But when you talk about the United States of America, anytime we have a mass unaliving event, the only thing that we get is thoughts and prayers. So when you talk about, the crime that's in the country, and Parker's already mentioned that undocumented immigrants commit crime at a less lower rate than U.S. Citizens. The overwhelming amount of mass casualties is caused by American citizens, specifically white men with right wing ideology.
and also the Trump administration claims that crime is dropping. So it's like there's that as well. Also, we were in D.C., for example, at the lowest rate of crime in the past 30 years when Trump was getting into office already. So, like, I mean, there has been decreasing crime from prior points during COVID, especially.
that I will say is a good thing, and I'm saying we need to find more ways, better ways, ways that don't infringe on rights to help reduce crime rates because I want to be able to walk through the streets of LA if I go there one day
I
or
live
go
in LA.
through Detroit
You can
even.
walk through the streets of LA, man.
I've heard some pretty atrocious things about the streets of LA, especially at
I
night.
live in LA, and I literally walk through the streets of LA.
I was in LA a couple of months ago, walking through downtown Hollywood at night. It was about 1 o'clock. My wife and I were walking down Hollywood Boulevard to go get pizza. Perfectly safe, no issues.
Yeah, literally. Like I'm sorry, like there are areas in practically every city that you can point to in certain areas
Hmm.
where there are areas in which are like somewhat unsafe. Like that exists in every big city. Okay, that's not
Hmm.
specific to LA. Now, most places in LA are completely safe. Okay, and even the areas that people try to mention, right? You can still walk in those areas, right?
Yeah.
Like it's not like you're like in those areas and you're like everyone just like is like constantly like there's crime happening. Like even in the areas that are being referenced to be even
Hmm.
less quote unquote safe.
No, that is a fair argument to make. Well, all I remember is the stories that my grandfather would tell me of his time when he was young. Like he could go to a concert, leave his backpack on a hill for a week, go back, and it'd still be there. These days, I have seen it where you can't even leave your own bike in the front yard without it being stolen.
Okay.
And
I mean,
that's
if you
that's
wanna reduce the likelihood of that happening, don't vote in a criminal into the position of presidency. Maybe start there.
Also, like,
I'm
I
saying
think
if I
something that a lot
found
of people actually forget is the amount of crime that has gone unreported or even swept under the rug. I think there's a misconception. A lot of people think that just because we have access or line of sight to more crime means that there's overall more crime or more bad things happening now than before. I think it's kind of the inverse. I think less crime and less bad things happen now because we have the ability to catch those things versus things happening and like crimes being unsolved. Think about the amount of crimes that went unsolved before they started to actually utilize DNA evidence in like cases, right? So I think it's a misconception as far as like, oh, back then we were safer versus now.
all right. I would also like to get a point across. I'm not 100% a Trump supporter. What I am is middle ground. I'm neutral because if I
Okay,
found
you
a
can't be
better
neutral on
candidate who
everything that Trump
offered
has done.
better things,
I don't buy the idea that
I
some
would vote
people
for
are
them.
just neutral in the middle and moderate. It's either you're misinformed, right, or you are an extremist, genuinely,
Mm-hmm.
right? And like
I like to
that
believe I'm moderate. I'm
there's no, I
100%
don't
moderate.
think
I
it's
side
possible to, I don't think it's
nowhere.
possible to be moderate, right now.
I mean that is what you
That
believe
that would
personally,
mean
but I
that
believe
you're
there is a chance to be moderate as
wait, but
long as
that
you
would
preach
mean that
about
there's
peace and
there's
love.
some things that Donald Trump is doing that you like you're just like some of the harmful things that he's doing that you're okay with. Like in order for you to be moderate, you would have to be good with some of the bad stuff that he's doing. So like when we talk about him violating the constitutional rights of Americans, when we talk about him actually looking to imprison his political opponents or even unalive them. Are you good with that and those things? I'm a little confused.
I'm sorry, repeat that. I was going through chat and I got wrapped up in what they were saying. Could you repeat that?
Yeah, are you good with some of the bad stuff that Trump is doing? That's the only way that you could claim that you're actually moderate is understanding that like Donald Trump is violating the constitutional rights of
Okay,
Americans or demanding that his
so
political opponents be jailed or unalive. And you would have to say, you know what, I'm good with those things. That's the only way that you could really be a moderate.
let me ask you something in turn. Why do I have to be okay with those things to be a moderate? I'm not okay with the bad stuff. I never said I
then
was.
then how are you a moderate? Because it's not like, there's only
Like
a
I said,
couple of bad things and there's a bunch of good things.
if I found a candidate that was more moderate than either Democrat or Republican, I would vote for them in a heartbeat.
So
But as
how
of
is
right now,
mass
this is.
deportation moderate?
Yeah, dude, you're not understanding that calling for the execution of your political opponents is not moderate. You're not
I never
acknowledging
said that
that,
was okay.
but again, you're willing to vote for him still, and you think you're moderate doing so.
I
Like
think
you
you're getting
think
a
you're
little
moderate
frustrated.
doing that.
Exactly. I think you're getting frustrated because we're challenging your way of thinking, but like I think stress testing your way of thinking is super important because obviously if you claim to be moderate, someone that's closer than being towards the middle than an extreme, then you wouldn't actually be supporting Donald Trump because he's closer to the extreme than in the middle.